Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're basically putting on our detective hats to investigate the language of science. Words are tools, and to really understand how the world works, we need to understand exact tools that scientists use to describe it. So today, we're unpacking a word that is absolutely foundational to how we understand reality. It's literally the word that separates hard facts from, well, mere guesses.
Because look, here is the absolute fundamental rule of science. You can't just guess. It's simply not good enough. When you're trying to figure out, say, how a complex chemical reaction works, or even why a star twinkles in the sky, a hunch just won't cut it. You need proof. You need something right there in front of you that you can point to and say, aha, I have the evidence.
And this brilliantly illustrates the divide we're talking about here. On one side, we've got guessing, right? That's the realm of what-ifs, assumptions, the whole maybe it happened this way kind of thinking. But then on the other side, we have the strict scientific standard, seeing and measuring. Because in the scientific method, if you can't see it, touch it, or measure it with an instrument, well, it's pretty hard to prove. So we need a specific word that bridges this gap and plants us firmly on the side of concrete proof.
Section 1. Meet the word. And that word is observable. Say it out loud with me. Lock in those 4 distinct syllables. Observable. It's an adjective, so a describing word, and it means exactly what it sounds like. Able to be observed. Visible, noticeable, able to be seen or measured.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that if something is observable, it can be detected. It's not hiding. It leaves a footprint. But, language is wonderfully layered, right? So while its primary job in science is to mean capable of being measured or seen, it actually carries a related sense too. It can also mean worth noticing, noteworthy, or remarkable. And if you think about it, both of these definitions circle perfectly around this core idea of being noticed, whether that's because a piece of lab equipment detected it or because it's just so spectacular you literally can't miss it.
And hey, before we jump into how it's used in everyday contexts, let's quickly look at its family tree. The morphological family expands to give us the adverb form, observably. So if a situation changes in a way you can visibly track, it changes observably. It's honestly incredibly helpful to know how to flex these root concepts into different parts of speech so you can use them perfectly in your own writing.
Section 2, observable in action. Let's move to and see how this builds with some real-world examples in context.
Imagine a scenario where a company is testing out a brand new, supposed miracle anti-aging cream. They run a clinical trial, but the results are, well, entirely disappointing. The official report reads, after weeks of using the cream, there was no observable difference in her skin. Notice how powerful and precise that phrasing is. The actual lack of change is the key scientific finding here. The researchers didn't just casually say the cream probably didn't work. They stated that absolutely no change could be visually detected or scientifically measured.
Now, let's completely flip that narrative and look at a success story. Picture a chemistry lab. A scientist pours 2 clear liquids together into a glass beaker, and suddenly, poof, the liquid instantly turns bright neon pink. The lab notes for this would say, the experiment produced a clear, observable change in color. In this case, the proof is visually striking and undeniable. It's literally right there in front of your eyes, confirming for sure that the chemical reaction took place.
And the cool thing is, this word isn't just restricted to microscopes and small glass beakers. It scales way, way up. The comet will be observable from Earth for several nights. See, we've gone from a tiny chemistry lab to the vastness of outer space. It perfectly describes massive, real-world phenomena that we can witness globally. If you can step out on your porch, look up at the night sky, and see that glowing comet, well, it is exactly that, able to be observed.
Section 3. The word detective. Usage and contrast. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how cleanly it maps out the territory of certainty. When we look at its near words, those close synonyms like visible, noticeable, and perceptible, they all share that exact same DNA of being detected by our human senses. But consider the exact opposite, unobservable. That tiny little prefix un entirely flips the meaning upside down. If something is unobservable, we're plunged right back into the dark, forced to go back to guessing. And I think this beautifully highlights why our target word is the absolute gold standard for scientific evidence.
Section 4. Try yourself. Now it's your turn.
So here is your challenge for today. Name one observable change that you could measure in a simple experiment, and I want you to actively use the word in your answer. Seriously, think about it. Like an ice cube melting in a glass on a hot summer day, or maybe a small seed growing toward the sunlight over the course of a week. What can you physically see, notice, or measure with a ruler or a thermometer? Remember our golden rule here. If it's observable, it leaves absolutely no room for guessing. The proof is right there to be noticed. So what experiment comes to mind for you? Think on that, put the word to use, and I'll see you in our next explainer.